hearts falling slowly, right from the starts. I'm so afraid, just to let you know, yet I'm about as subtle as a circus show. Loving you, stirring me up inside. Wanna tell you just how I feel, then I run and hide. Oh, everybody knows what I am talking about. I just wish you had me all figured out. Suppose I had told you I had fallen for you. Suppose I had told you I had fallen for you. Welcome to Close Listening. I'm Zach Morgenstern, joined as always by silent co-host Ludwig von B. And you just heard a song called Suppose I Had Told You by today's guest, Max Comeau. So the decision to play this song really came long before I created this show. I had this song stuck in my head once, and I was desperately trying to figure out who it was by. The reason Max's name didn't come to my head is, well, he's not a famous person. I assumed it must have been some song I heard on the radio. But no, I had recently bought his album, Rock, Paper, Scissors, from one of his shows in Montreal, and that particular song, which wasn't even necessarily one of his regular ones to play at open mics, it stuck in my head. And Max really does a wonderful job recording so many songs, so I'm excited to finally get to talk to him, hear about his process and his inspiration, because he's someone who's not shy about talking about his influences either. Hint, hint, Lindsey Buckingham. Anyway, let's get to know Max. Max, why don't you start by talking about your musical style? I think of you as sitting at this kind of intersection where you personally have a kind of singer-songwriter sound, but you still play with a big band behind you. So maybe some famous names that kind of do that: Springsteen, Jackson Browne, and of course Fleetwood Mac. What more would you say about the kind of music you're doing?
Well, definitely I think the one thing that sort of um, um, ties it all together is the fact that it's always sort of very personal music. It's always driven by the emotions and my heart and everything. And usually, inevitably, my acoustic guitar tends to be at the center of it all, which sometimes I do love playing piano and I do love playing keyboards and whatnot, but definitely guitar just comes more naturally. And so I think everything sort of stems from the guitar. Everything starts with the guitar.
I have a copy of your 2017 record, Rock, Paper, Scissors, here.
Awesome.
I was re-listening to this, and even though there a lot of them are love or heartache songs, which is quite common, it still feels like a concept album. Like they all fit together, and it's telling some deeper story. Would you say that's going on?
I think that is going on. I think that's a little bit more on the accidental side. I don't think it was the intention from the beginning, um, but it did end up being a sort of song cycle that seems to deal with change, moving on, maybe turning the page on certain habits or certain patterns. There's a little bit of that in every single song. And so, in that sense, I guess it is sort of a concept album.
Right. So there are a couple songs on here I wanted to talk about, including the opener, Walk On. There's one little moment in the chorus where you go, I thought you'd walk away.
Yeah.
It goes against the rest of the song where you're talking about this person being controlling and you're telling them to go. But that little moment of, but I thought you would leave. I just like that contradiction. Something about it
Right.
works well.
Yeah. I mean, I think contradictions are one of the most fun things about lyric writing, because we are ourselves contradictions. We do so many things that we sort of despise, yet we do them because we're sort of used to doing them, or we're addicted to doing them in some sort of weird way. Our lives are full of contradictions. We're sometimes attracted to people that in the very beginning we couldn't stand, and it just seems like a whole contradiction. And I like that. I mean, the first song that I wrote where I actually felt good enough about it to play it for people was a song called You'll Be Happy to Know. And the first two lines are, "You'll be happy to know this song isn't about you." But of course, the song is about that person 100%. Every subsequent lyric is about how I'm trying to move on or trying to get over this person. But obviously, I mean, that's who the song is about. And so I kind of like that idea of contradicting oneself in your lyrics.
Yeah, so another favorite of mine, Suppose I Had Fallen. That one, I realize now it's quoting Go Your Own Way and possibly some other songs. Can you tell us
Yeah,
a bit about that one?
it's a bit of a, I mean, stylistically, it's definitely a wink at Go Your Own Way. And there's another Lindsey Buckingham song from his solo album Gift of Screws. It's a song called Love Runs Deeper, and it's a song that I just love the production too, but very similar to Go Your Own Way. That's a song that I wrote the lyrics to the song and came up with the melody at the time, and it sort of just sat there for the longest time. I think I wrote that around 2010, and that album that we're talking about, Rock Paper Scissors, came out in 2017. So it just came back to the surface because my bass player Seb happened to really like the melody, and he wanted us to tackle that song and give it a go. And I just thought to myself, well, if we are going to do it, because it was written with Go Your Own Way in mind, I'm not going to shy away from, doing everything I can to get the arrangement to sound somewhat Go Your Own Way esque.
Right. So anyone who follows you on social media will know that Lindsey Buckingham is a huge influence on you. Now, maybe if I was a bit older, that would be a name I was very familiar with. I'd see him as a rock and roll A-lister, but I guess for people my age and younger, it feels like just a bit more of a niche taste. So just give me a bit
Well,
about Lindsey for Dummies.
I'll be absolutely honest with you. I think that he's a very niche artist, no matter what generation you're talking about, because yes, the success of Fleetwood Mac and albums like, of course, Rumors, but also Tusk and Tango in the Night, that are all really dominated by Lindsey's taste and arrangements and production styles. Even the songs not written by him, he is the arranger extraordinaire. He just knows how to fashion these songs into records and actual earworms. But all that being said, he's still fairly unknown. People know him as that guitarist from Fleetwood Mac, and a lot of people hear the name Lindsey Buckingham and they think, oh, is that the other woman, the one that's on keyboards? I get that a lot as well, just because people aren't necessarily familiar with the name. But I was 19, and someone sort of imposed Rumors onto me. They put it on the turntable, their parents' turntable, and said, "Listen to this." And it immediately struck a chord. But it was when I saw them playing live, and seeing the chemistry between all of them and just the soap opera aspect of it. It just gave me an additional appreciation of the songs. And I was just blown over by Lindsey Buckingham as a guitarist and as a singer. And he just became a bit of an obsession.
Right. So would you still say Rumors is the strongest record, or are there deeper cuts?
I'm partial to Tusk.
Okay.
Tusk is my favorite Fleetwood Mac album. Stevie Nicks is in top form on that album, and so is Christine McVie. But the dominating force is definitely Lindsey, with 9 out of the 20 songs on that double album. But it's just a great, like if you're a Beatles fan, or any Beatles fan out there, it's sort of like Fleetwood Mac's White Album. Everyone coming in with their own set of rules and ideas and textures and colors, and it's just mashed up for a really great mixtape. It's just so full of ideas, that album. I'm really, it's my favorite Fleetwood Mac album.
So I got so caught up re-listening to the old record, I forgot there's basically a new one, or not even that new, the Try EP.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that was released, I guess, in late 2020, and that was so much fun because I basically had been wanting to work with Julian Rice, who's a member of Crackers and Jam and a band called Bad Luck Jealousy. They're some of my favorite indie bands in Montreal, and I was a big fan of his and always wanted to work one on one with him. And we finally got to do it with that batch of songs that we put out. We put out two EPs, basically of 4 songs each, I guess. And they're just such creative guys. And they're more from your generation. I mean, they're basically your age. And Julien Arsenault as well, who helped with guitar, and some of the arrangement ideas came from him. They're just great guys to work with. It's we share.
If I can jump in here,
Yes.
that I think the track called Try.
Yes.
I don't know how to put it, but it has a very overly rhythmic characteristic to it. So is that
Yes.
something that comes entirely in production? Are you imagining that? Like, how does that come to be?
I think that came in production because I think originally it was written as a really quiet guitar piece. I was just picking those notes. Um, but it seemed like when I played it, it felt a little bit like I'd been there, done that. It didn't feel 100% original, and I wanted to take it somewhere else. And actually, an artist by the name of Roisin Murphy, who is sort of a dance artist, I guess you could say. She's Scottish. I hope I'm getting that right. But anyway, she has this song called "Incapable," and it's a dance track. I mean, that's what it is. It's like a good old fashioned dance track. But there was something about the rhythm and the insistence of that beat in that song that made me think, well, Try is a completely different song. It's not trying for this, well, it's not aiming for the same things that this dance song is, but somehow if we could like have them meld or something. So the influence is there. I've played it for some people that are familiar with the Royce and Murphy song, and they actually don't hear the connection, but I know it's there. And that's the other thing, is sometimes your influences will lead you down a certain path, but that won't necessarily show in the record. So in the case of Suppose I Told You, that song that you were mentioning, that does come out with a very go your own way feel. But sometimes the influence or whatever you used as your model, it's not even there. It's not audible. Only you, the creator, know that that's sort of where you took it from.
Right. So I have no idea who Roisin Murphy is. What I was thinking when I heard that one is the last few Paul Simon albums, how it's like he almost got bored of folk music, so
Yes.
you really only hear the percussion on a lot of those tracks.
Yeah, he does this amazing version of I Can't Run But, which is it's a Paul Simon song that he'd originally recorded, I believe, on One Trick Pony. No, actually, it was on Rhythm of the Saints. Anyway, and he revisits that song on one of his latest albums, and you're entirely right. The percussion is really driving the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I love starting with a beat or starting with a rhythmic idea, because that forces you, either on guitar or on piano, to just maybe follow a beat that normally you wouldn't go with, because if I pick up my guitar, there are certain patterns, there are certain things that I'm going to do automatically just because I've been doing them probably since
Yeah.
to a G shape, and I'll start plucking a G and then go from there. But when you start with a beat, it forces you to sort of just go about it in a completely different way. And I think that's a really fun, creative way to write a song.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because occasionally I'll hear about these music virtuosos, and I want to challenge myself to write more like them. But the problem is all the melodies I hear in my head are just four chord songs, and
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
challenge to just make your mind want to do something harder than that.
Exactly. And to have maybe your vocal melody do something that is completely opposed to what the chords are, but somehow make it work, where it's a completely separate melody and yet it works over that bed of those, whatever, 3, 4, 5 chords that you've got. Um, I mean, there's so many ways to just reinvent your own formula all of the time so that it doesn't become a formula. I mean, that's the point, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, it's fun, and it's amazing how one of the things that amazes me about any aspect of the creative process is that you can go a few weeks without creating anything or writing anything of note or anything that you feel is worth even mentioning to anybody. But if you sit down and you sort of force yourself, exercise that muscle, that songwriting muscle, you will come up with something. Absolutely. Chances are, if it's forced, it might not be any good. But at the very least, you've gone through the process of creating, and maybe that opened up another door. And maybe you came up with one line that was actually quite good that
Right.
you'll revisit tomorrow, and then all of a sudden the inspiration is there, and then you know where you're going. So just to force that muscle, something will always come. If you're a songwriter, something will come.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about one last song, which is Drive. It's a duet with another amazing Montreal singer, songwriter, Clarel.
Yes,
Writing for other people can be a challenge because you don't know whether they want to sing one of your songs or you want to write
exactly.
one of their songs. So, what was the process for creating that one?
Well, I um, started seeing Clarel sing at open mics around town. I think I saw him sing for the first time at the Brass Door. They used to have an open mic there, and I was really impressed with his voice. Immediately thought of Sam Cooke, and I just thought, man, this is timeless stuff. I mean, this is a real voice, and I insisted that we write together. And actually, it's funny. His hand is the hand on the album cover
Hmm.
to Rock Paper Scissors. There are three hands on there, and one of
Right.
the three hands is his hand. So, and he sings harmonies on that album on a song called "Just One of the Boys." So he was always like he was already, I guess, in my sort of circle, and I just wanted to sit down and write with him. So eventually, I convinced him to come on over, and I remember my cats being real enamored with him. But we sat down around the coffee table, and I just randomly started playing a little E chord, and I was going to go into just like a standard blues thing because I figured maybe that'll lead us down some road and we'll see what happens there. And Clarel right away came up with the first opening two lines of the song. And then we wrote it like, I think pretty much one line, one line each sort of thing. And all I had said before we actually put pen to paper, all I had said was, I'd like to write a song about wishing
Hmm.
that you could drive. Because I personally don't have my driver's license. It's a choice I made years ago. I just didn't feel that I needed to get my license. Now I'm 40 and thinking I need to get my license now, which is a little late in the game, but why not? But I wanted to have that idea of this character who wishes that it was as easy as just taking your car keys and driving off to whoever you miss. And at that point, I think I was in love with someone who was a few hours away from Montreal. And so it seemed like the most romantic notion. If only I could drive, if I didn't have to like depend on taking a bus or taking a train or whatever, I could just grab my keys and leave and go to your side right away. And I think he liked the idea, and we just wrote the song. It took less than 15 minutes, and we immediately knew that we had something pretty special on our hands.
Excellent. Well, Max, it's been a lot of fun. Do you have a song you can share with us?
A song I can share with you? Yes, absolutely. I was thinking of doing the title track of my first solo album, which is a song called "You." And I'm often asked, what is my songwriting story? And one of my favorite songwriting stories is how I was having an argument with a friend, and as I was reading our texts, our messages to one another, it dawned on me that they were song lyrics. And I put them to song and added a few lines, of course, because it had to hold together. But that's how the song was written, and it remains one of my favorite things that I've ever done. So anyway, yeah, it's a song called "You."
Great.
I can't break this chain any more than I can stop the rain. I can't watch you walk away. I fall to my knees begging you to stay. I can't imagine no lucky one, how it feels now that you've won. No matter what I do, you won't see me through. Hold me down. I'm not asking for much, just a little piece of you. My world revolves around you. Yeah, you. You. Yeah, you. I can watch this go away. Can hold your hand. I can't hold him nor ever get you to understand yourself. No, I don't have time for this. We always were hidden mess. Keep it up and I'll ignore you. As they say, what else is new? Hear me out. I'm not asking for much at all. Just a little piece of you. My world revolves around you, and that's what's wrong. World revolves around you. That's what's wrong. Oh. So there you go.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck with your upcoming projects.
Absolutely. There's definitely going to be something coming out in the next few months. And I'm also working on a jazz project with my guitarist right now. So pretty excited. There's some new music coming out, and hopefully maybe a collaboration with you, Zach.
That would be an honor. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much.
So that was my interview with Max Comeau, and it was great. I thought he struck a great balance of sort of talking about the technical behind the scenes stuff while not getting too in the weeds to keep things interesting. I guess I was trying to manage time, and I wish I just asked him a bit more about the idea of writing a song about wanting to learn to drive and having put off driving until later in life, because I had a similar experience. I did not want to drive as a teenager. I sort of hoped my generation would single-handedly boycott driving and we'd save the planet. And now I'm kind of stuck thinking, okay, I guess I should do this for emergency reasons, but it makes me dizzy and it scares me how perfectionist all drivers seem to be, and you have to be safe. So anyway, that might be another thing Max and I had in common. But regardless, I really admire his musical craft, and I hope he continues to say nice things about me as well. So check out more of these interviews going forward. I'm Zach Morgenstern. This is Ludwig von B. See you next time.